Well, good morning, folks. We are once again in the New Forest, and I'm near what's called the Nightwood Oak, part of the forest. It's cold, it's 3 degrees, so I'm well togged up. I've got lots of layers on this morning, which means I'm probably going to get ridiculously hot. But there's still a little bit of colour in the trees. The leaves have not all fallen, most have, but there's still a little bit of colour left in the trees. And my inspiration for coming out this morning was because I was on the promise of fog and mist, and yeah, it's not really materialised. So anyway, oh, there we go, watch your knees. So what am I going to do? I'm going to walk up to this area that I've driven past so many times. There's little bits of open space, lots of little clusters of trees, particularly silver birch, but also some broadleaf trees as well, which I might like to photograph. And it's more really of a scouting trip, this one, to look for future potential, particularly as we're now in towards late autumn, early winter. It's the 2nd of December. And so I'm looking out for those cold, frosty or foggy, misty mornings where we can get a little bit of separation and find some trees with real character that we can isolate in our pictures. So without further ado, let's crack on. Well, do you know, while I'm here, I've never seen it before, I've never been here, but I've seen images of it. I thought I might as well go and see the famous Nightwood Oak. And up here ahead of me there's a bit of a clearing and a circular path around the Nightwood Oak. Let's go and have a look. So this is it, the famous Nightwood Oak. Apparently been here for about 500 years or so. And its girth is reported to be about 8 meters. So this is believed to be pretty much the oldest and largest oak in the New Forest. I'm not sure about it being the largest. Depends how you measure it, I suppose, perhaps in terms of girth. But I think the kind of wall of oak, as I referred to it in one of my recent pictures, has got to be a candidate for being on a similar scale to this. But yeah, impressive thing, 500 years old. Wow, it's got to take some force, hasn't it, to blow this over. Look at the size of it. Hard thing to photograph. I think this is one of those cases where, although something looks quite impressive to your eye and you can appreciate it for what it is, trying to find a photograph of it that works is really tricky. And the only thing I can think of would be a long pano of this. I did a similar shot a couple of years ago at Acres Down, and it was a fallen beech tree, much straighter than this one, and it was juxtaposed beautifully because it was perfectly horizontal pretty much, at least from my memory, compared with the vertical trees surrounding it and behind it. And so it looked quite amazing. and it had been raining. It was a nice dark bark. And a similar thing might work on here. Oh, for some mist. We promised mist this morning, we didn't got it. So this is one of those shots where focus stacking really is necessary, and so I just thought I might show you how I go about setting that up. And the reason is that I want the foreground, this water area, this little puddle really, to be in focus, as well as the gate in the distance. And so what I can do, I'm just going to set my initial focus point here in the foreground. I think the camera's just going to override that anyway when I set it up, but let's go to menu in the camera settings, photo shooting menu, and focus shift shooting. And by the way, it has to be in single shot mode to do this. If you've got it on the 5-second timer release or 2-second timer release, it won't allow you to do it. So I've told it here, for example, I want 20 shots, a focus step width of 3. So the focus step width is how much focus distance change it makes between, how fine an adjustment between each shot. I think 3 is plenty here. So let's go back, and I don't need an interval between each shot. And I'm on manual exposure, so first frame exposure shot is unnecessary, doesn't matter either way, and silent photography doesn't really matter in this situation. So basically what does matter is I'm going to do 20 shots with a focus step width of 3 out of 10. So I just press start, having composed my shot, and off it goes. It's preparing. And when all those shots have been taken, we'll end up with the display coming back on. So one of the things that I am on the lookout for today is subjects that might be suitable for a little bit of light painting during the night time. And I think this tree could be one such candidate. There's good separation from the background, and where I'm stood now looking toward the tree, in fact if I move over a little bit this way, on this side of the path, then broadly speaking I'm facing sort of facing west to southwest, and so at the right time of year and the right time of night we might get a little bit of Milky Way going over it. You know, this is just such a beautiful area of the forest. I could see me coming back here again and again. It'd be nice if it was a bit more peaceful and we didn't have traffic noise. I hope it's not too disturbing. Right, let me show you this particular scene that I'm looking at. So we've got this stand of trees. We've got some birch trees that are well past their prime. Some of them are dead, got fungi growing up them. And just between the middle of this group of trees here, we can see this oak that is also getting a bit past its prime as well, well on in years. And there is a bit of a feeling of decay in this place. And I just think in the right conditions, in the right light, this scene could look great if we had some nice warm light on it early in the morning or late in the evening, and some nice warm glow. And again, also with a bit of mist, I think this would be a lovely scene to really separate out from the background again and just soften everything down a bit maybe. So, but what I've chosen here is a position where I can see through between these birch trees to the oak behind. and I've positioned myself so that rather than having a wide angle further in, like this, where all the sky is showing up, I didn't really want the sky in it. So I've come back, I've zoomed out to something like, I don't know, probably 120 mil. Let's have a look on the camera, see what it says. Camera says, oh no, it's only 70 mil. So I've zoomed out to about 70 mil. And so that I can keep these birch in, framing the oak tree, and we won't get the whole of the oak tree in, we'll just get kind of its bottom third, and that'll show through this little gateway made by the birch there. And if it's any good, I will show it to you right now. Well, I've been dragging this great big 70-200 AFS lens with me. It's f2.8, and it's got the FTZ adapter on it for the Z series cameras. So I thought I ought to break it out, and the shot I've just shown you, I decided I'll try and do a comparison to show what that might be like with a wider aperture f4, so that more of the background is out of focus. Because of the positioning of the birch trees in front, which I do also want in focus, I'm going to need to focus stack this one, as I did the last one, in fact. But that was f6.3 because that's basically what that lens requires. So that was the widest aperture that I could get for this shot with the Z series lens, the 24 to 200 mil. So this is with the 70-200 f2.8 AFS lens. Let's just see how those two compare. Let me know in the comments which of these you think you prefer. It's not necessarily a better shot, but which of them you prefer. I've got problems today. This is one of those videos that could just go on indefinitely because there's so much gorgeous stuff to photograph, and now we're starting to get light as well. Ah, just look at this, it's just gorgeous. Just take that. So I'm a bit of a fool for things that are dead and dying apparently. So here there's this fallen tree, and a couple other branches are just sticking up, and they're really catching the light at the moment. And then you've got the dark forest behind, and I'll just show you what I've got on the screen at the moment. Well, hello, it's Future Nigel here, and welcome to my office. And we're here because I had a bit of a calamity with the remainder of my footage. So I'm just going to close out the rest of this video with a little bit of explanation from here. Okay, I'm just going to show you those two images side by side of the tree that I took, one with the 24 to 200 Z lens, and the other with the F-mount 70 to 200 lens, and they do show quite nicely this difference in the drop off of focus in the background that achieves that little bit of extra separation. It's not dramatic, but it's definitely there. Let's see if I can find that for you. So this one is with the 70 to 200, and if we zoom into 100% here and we look just to the right here of this oak tree, you can see it's definitely very soft here in the background. And if on the other hand we just take a look at I think it's this one here, this is taken with the 24 to 70, and again we go 100%. You can definitely see there's more detail here in the background. If we show the two together, side by side, then this one on the left is the 24-200, and this little branch here definitely quite sharp and definitely soft here on the one on the right, which is with the 70-200. Okay, I don't want to labour that point too much, but you get the idea basically, that I can achieve that bit more background separation with the 70-200 because it's got that wider aperture that I can use. Right, okay, so what else did we do? Let me just go back to an overview of our images here. I didn't take many more that day. I was quite pleased with the ones that I did. This plate mushroom, for example, I don't think I actually recorded any video of that particular one, but quite nice little shot, very sharp, a bit of focus stacking there just to make sure we really could get the whole of that plate mushroom in focus from front to back, whilst retaining real separation, and lovely bokeh here on the background. And this is the outcome of the image of the branch that I took, that I was talking about earlier, and just again I've used focus stacking in this one, and I think there are probably about 4 or 5 shots in this one, and so it's really beautifully sharp here from front to back. Yeah, so this was taken with the 70-200, which really lets me throw the background way out of focus. Beautiful, that. I love that shot. On the way back through the gate that I photographed earlier and down this lovely grassy ride, the summer sun was really starting to pick some of the autumn colours out, and in fact I took advantage of that to take another photo of something I took a test shot of earlier, which was a lone birch tree, and I'd taken that because I thought it would be a nice subject really for when there's some mist, and to come back to, because I could really separate it from the background. But as I was walking back, I noticed in fact that there was some really lovely colour coming out in it, and see if I can find the earlier one as well. Right, that one and that one. Right, okay. So the image on the right here, that's the one I took earlier in the day. Very flat sky, and not a particularly inspiring photograph, but really just taken as a reminder for me of something I could go back to. And then the image on the left was taken later in the day. We've got very low winter sunshine. It's just really picking out some of the detail here in the mid-ground. And I've swapped my position, so I'm pretty much directly the other side of the tree now, because I thought it was a better composition. I like the foreground here of this puddle, the way that the path leads us up to and then past the birch tree. But also there's 2 pairs of birch trees that help really balance the shot here. So to the left of this one and to the right of it, you can see there's these 2 kind of opposing pairs. The 2 on the left are sort of leaning in towards each other, and the 2 on the right are leaning outward. And so a very different shot, same tree, same day, different position and different lighting. Really shows the difference. Right, okay, and then finally let's just, I just wanted to say a little bit about this shot as well. Let's just show that in normal view. And in fact I'm going to show that full screen. I really like this shot, and compositionally I like the way that the ride takes us into the image from the bottom left corner. There's a lot of colour in the left hand side of this image, and you've got these very dark, cool colours or tones on the right hand side of the image, and this warm and this cool tone are separated diagonally by these 2 trees here, and so you've got this very balanced photograph. I really like that. I have accentuated the white balance, the warm white balance, on the left hand side of the image, and then I've accentuated the cool white balance, added a bit of blue on the right hand side as well. There's just something about that just I just really love this particular composition. This one's taken with again the 24-200, and you know, the more I use it, the more I'm finding I can get a little bit more out of it. And there are a couple of other shots taken on the way back, and I'll just include those for you in a little slideshow at the end. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little jaunt out to the New Forest. That's pretty much it now for autumn photography. It's been a long, drawn-out autumn, and I have to say I'm delighted that I managed to finally escape the forest last week and get a camping trip down to Dartmoor right at the beginning of this really cold spell that we've had. So I did an overnight sub-zero camp up on the moors, and had to get myself really tooled up and equipped to do that safely, and got some wonderful pictures. So I hope you will join me next time for that particular trip and see some of the fruits of it. So thanks for joining me. Do share, like, subscribe, all the usual YouTubey things, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.